Genesis chapter 42. So like when Jacob peeped that there was mad corn in Egypt, he was like, yo, sons, why are you just standing there staring at each other? He was like, yo, I've heard there's mad corn in Egypt. So you should totally head down there and buy some for us. That way we won't starve and die. So like Joseph's 10 brothers headed down to Egypt to cop some corn. But Jacob didn't let Benjamin, Joseph's brother, go with his other brothers because he was worried that something bad might happen to him. So like the Israelites went to get some grain from the peeps who already had some because there was like a major famine going on in Canaan. So like Joseph was totally in charge of the whole land and he was the one selling stuff to everyone. And then his brothers showed up and like totally bowed down to him, putting their faces on the ground and all. So Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them, but he acted like he didn't know them and spoke sternly to them. He asked them, where did you come from? And they replied, we came from Canaan to buy food. And Joseph recognized his brothers, but they didn't recognize him. So Joseph totally remembered those dreams that he had about them and straight up said, you guys are like spies or something, checking out the land in secret. They were like, nah, bro, we're just here to get some grub, not cause trouble, my dude. We're all just some dudes, bro. Like, seriously, we ain't lying or anything. We're your faithful homies, not undercover agents or anything. And he was like, no way, bro. You guys came just to scope out the land's beautiful view. So like there's 12 of us bros, and we're all sons of this one dude from Canaan. And check it. The youngest dude is hanging out with our pops today. But none of us ain't here, man. But one of us ain't here, man. Joseph was like, yo, listen up. Remember when I told you that you guys were spies? Well, that's what I was talking about. All right, here's the deal. You ain't leaving here unless your little bro rolls through. I swear on Pharaoh's life. Yo, send one of y'all to go get your brother. Meanwhile, the rest of y'all going to be locked up so we can see if you're telling the truth or if y'all some spies. Swear on Pharaoh's life. And he gathered all of them and kept them confined for 3 days. And Joseph was like, yo, listen up on the third day. If you want to keep living, you got to do this thing because I respect and fear God, If you guys are really real ones, then have one of your squad be locked up in your crib while the rest of y'all go and grab some food for the famines in your houses. But like bring your youngest bro to me and then you'll totally prove what you're saying and you won't get in trouble. And they actually did it, no joke. So like they were talking to each other and being super honest, saying that they totally messed up when it came to their brother. They saw how much pain he was going through, pleading with them, but they totally ignored him. And now they're facing all this trouble because of it. And Reuben was like, didn't I tell you not to do anything bad to the kid? But you didn't listen. Now his blood is on our hands, on your hands. And they didn't realize that Joseph could understand them because he was speaking to them through an interpreter. The interpreter was the one translating their words for Joseph. Then he turned away from them and couldn't help but cry. After a moment, he went back to them and started talking with them. He decided to take Simeon from among them and tied him up right before their eyes. So Joseph was like, yo, fill up your bags with corn and put their money back in their bags and give them food for their journey. And that's exactly what he did to them. And they loaded their donkeys with corn and left from there. And when one of them opened his backpack to give his donkey some food at the hotel, he noticed his money. They didn't have no hotels because it was right there in his backpack. And he was like, guys, my money is back in my bag. They were shook and scared, asking each other, yo, what did God just do to us? So they went to their dad, Jacob in Canaan, and told him everything that had happened to them. And they were like, yo, this dude who's like the boss of the whole land straight up came at us with some harsh words and accused us of being spies from another country. Like he didn't hold back at all. And we were like, yo, bro, we ain't no spies or anything, but we're just straight up honest dudes. You feel me? So there's like 12 of us bros, all from the same pops. But one of us isn't here. And the youngest one, he's chilling with our pops back at home in Canaan. And the guy in charge told us, look, this is how I'm going to know if you guys are legit. Leave one of your bros here with me and take some food for your fam back home. Then you can bounce and deal with the famine. And like, bring your little brother to me. Then I'll know that you're not like undercover agents or whatever, but legit dudes. And then I'll totally give your brother back to you. And you can do your thing in this land. And when they emptied their bags, they found out that every guy's cash stash was still in their bag. When they and their dad saw the money, they got freaked out. Then their dad, Jacob, said to them, "You've taken away my children. Joseph is gone. Simeon is gone. Now you want to take Benjamin away too? It feels like everything is going against me." Reuben went to his old man and said, "Yo, Dad, if I don't bring him back to you, go ahead and end my two bros. Trust me, hand him over to me and I'll make sure he returns to you." He was like, "No, my son, can't roll with you guys. His brother died, so he's all alone now. If anything bad happens to him while you're out there, it's going to crush me and bring me to utter despair." Genesis chapter 43. And there was like a super intense famine in the whole place. So like when they finished eating all the corn they got from Egypt, the dad was like, "Hey, go back and get us some more food, okay? Just a little bit." So Judah was like, "Dude, this guy straight up told us, I ain't going to show my face unless your bro's with me." He was serious, man. "Yo, if you let us bring our bro along, we're down to go and cop some food for you. But like, if you don't send him, we're totally not coming. Because the dude straight up told us we won't get to see his face unless your bro is with you, you know?" Israel's like, "Yo, why you got to do me dirty by telling the man about my brother?" So like this guy asked us some intense questions about our fam, you know? He was all like, "Is your dad still around? Do you have another bro?" And we answered him exactly how we asked, you know? But like, how could we know that he would be all, "Bring your bro with you"? Like major plot twist. So Judah was like, "Hey, Dad, let the boy come with us. We got to bounce and survive so that all of us, including you and the little ones, can stay alive. I got his back. You can count on me. If I don't bring him back to you, I'll take the blame forever. If we hadn't stayed for so long, we could have definitely come back again by now. Like this would be the second time. Or wait, actually, it's like the second time because of this. Yo, listen up, my peeps." Israel, their dad, was like, "All right, if that's how it's got to be, then here's the plan. Y'all grab the finest fruits we got, pack them up in your bags, and take them down to that man. Alongside, bring him a little gift, like a little small jar of balm, some honey, spices, myrrh, also some nuts and almonds. And make sure you bring twice the amount of money with you. And don't forget to take the money, which was returned in the mouths of your sacks. Maybe it was just a mistake. Yo, grab your bro and get up. Let's go meet the dude again, and may God have mercy on you in the eyes of the man, so that he will let your other brother and Benjamin go. If I lose my children, then so be it." So the guys grabbed the gift and also took the cash in their hands along with Benjamin. They got up, headed down to Egypt, and stood before Joseph. And when Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the ruler of his house, "Yo, bring these guys back to my crib and get some food ready because they're dining with me at noon. You know, like prepare something tasty for them." So the guy did what Joseph told him to do, and he brought the dudes to Joseph's crib. The guys were totally shook when they were brought into Joseph's crib. They were like, "Yo, we got set up. Remember that cash that ended up back in our bags last time? Now he's going to use that as an excuse to accuse us, come after us, and make us his slaves along with our donkeys." Then they went up to the manager of Joseph's crib and had a chat with him by the entrance to the crib. And we were like, "Yo, we came all the way down here just to grab some grub." You know what I'm saying? We were starving and needed some food, man. So like when we got to the end, we opened our luggage and surprise, everyone's money was still in their bags, all accounted for and stuff. We brought it all back with us, no missing money or anything. And like we totally brought down some extra cash in our hands to buy some grub. But honestly, we have no clue who slipped the money into our bags. It's a total mystery. And he was like, "Yo, guys, chillax. Don't be scared. Your God and the God of your pops just blessed you with some sick loot in your bags. By the way, I accidentally took your cash. No, but no biggie." "Oh, you took the cash? By the way, I accidentally took your cash, but no biggie. Oh, and he let Simeon join y'all. By the way, your money came to me part. Yeah, it means I accidentally took your moolah." I didn't know that. Okay, skipping on to verse 24. News to me. So the guy took the dudes to Joseph's crib, hooked them up with some water to freshen up and wash their feet, and he also provided food for their donkeys. And they prepared the gift when Joseph arrived at noon because they heard that they would have lunch together. So like when Joseph got back home, they brought him this gift that they had in their hand, and they totally bowed down before him, like right to the ground. He was like, "Hey, how's this going, you guys? Is your dad doing okay?" You know, the old man you were talking about, is he still alive and doing well? And they were like, yo, our dad is actually doing really well, still kicking it. So they lowered their heads and showed some respect. Then he looked up and saw his bro Benjamin, his mom's kid, and asked, yo, is this your little bro you were talking to me about? And he replied, may God bless you, bro. And Joseph rushed because he felt deep compassion for his brother. He looked for a place where he could cry. So he went into his room and sobbed there. Then he quickly freshened up his face, headed out, controlled his emotions, and requested some food. And they made separate meals for him, the Israelites and the Egyptians who dined with him, because it was considered wrong for Egyptians to eat bread with the Hebrews. It was something they found unacceptable. And they all took their seats in front of him, with the oldest one sitting first based on their birthright, and the youngest one sitting according to their age. And everyone was amazed by each other's presence. And he sent them some seriously good food from his own table. But Benjamin got 5 times more than anyone else. And they ate and had a lit time together. Genesis 44. Then he told his house manager, yo, go fill their bags with grub, like as much as they can handle, and put each dude's dough back in their bags. Be discreet about it, though. You feel me? And like Joseph was all, yo, put my fancy silver cup in the youngest bro's sack, you know, and also throw his cash for the food in there too. So the dude did exactly what Joseph said, no cap. When it started getting bright in the morning, they let the guys and the donkeys go. So like after they left the city but weren't really far away, Joseph told his assistant, dude, go catch up to those guys. And when you catch up to them, ask them, why are they treating us with evil after we've been good to them? Bro, isn't this the same cup that my Lord like sips from and uses to, you know, get insights? By doing this, you guys have totally messed up and done something wrong for real. Or you could say, by doing this, you guys have straight up made a bad move. And he caught up to them and he started talking to them, saying the exact same stuff. And they were like, why is our dude saying that? No way, we can't go along with this. Yo, check it. We totally brought back that cash we found in our bags all the way from Canaan. So why would we even think of jacking your Lord's silver or gold from his crib? If any of your servants are found to have done this, they should face serious consequences. And we'll willingly serve and obey my Lord. He was like, okay, I'll do what you say. Person who has it will be my servant, and you'll all be innocent. So like they quickly brought down their sacks to the ground and opened them up, you know. So he looked through all their bags, starting with the oldest and ending with the youngest. And guess what? The cup was discovered in Benjamin's bag. So they're like totally in shock, tearing their clothes, loading their ride, and all head back to the city. So Judah and his squad pulled up to Joseph's crib because he was still chilling there. And they all showed mad respect by bowing down before him like on the low. And Joseph was like, yo, what's the deals with what you guys did? Didn't you know that I can totally figure things out like a boss? Like, seriously, did you even think about that? And Judah was like, yo, what's good, my Lord? What should we even say? How can we defend ourselves? God's totally exposed our wrongdoings. Check it. We're here as your servants, both us and the dude who has the cup. He was like, no, fam, I ain't going to do that. But the person who has the cup, they're going to be my servant. And as for y'all, you can peace out and go back to your pops without any worries. So Judah went up to him and was like, hey, dude, can I like whisper something in your ear without getting all ticked off? You getting all ticked off? Because you're totally in charge, just like Pharaoh. So the boss man asked his crew like, yo, y'all got a pops or a bro? So like we told my dude, yo, dad is like super old. And we have this little sibling who was born when our dad was. Like way past his prime, you know. And it, you know, man, I'm not gonna read that word because our other bro died. And now he's the only one left from our mom. And our dad totally adores him. And you told your crew, bring him over to me so I can check him out with my own eyes. And we were like, bro, yo, bro, the homie can't bounce with his old man. Because if he leaves, his old man would straight up kick the bucket. And you told your crew, unless your little bro joins the squad, you won't see me again. And when we finally reached my father's place, we shared with him the message from my boss. So our dad's like, yo, go get some munchies, man. And we were like, bro, we can't go down there without our youngest brother, you know? No way. We can't even see the dude's face unless our younger bro is with us, man. So my dad, being all cool and chill, was like, yo, my peeps, Y'all know that my wife gave birth to 2 dope sons, right? Then they left my side, and I thought for sure they were completely lost. But that from that moment on, I never laid eyes on them again. And if you also snatch this away from me and something bad happens to him, you'll make me really sad and sorrowful till the end of my days. So like when I go back to my dad and the kid ain't with us, and like his whole life depends on the kid's life. So basically, if dad sees that the boy ain't with us, he's going to die. And us, the servants, we're going to make dad so sad that he'll go all gray and down to the grave. So like I promised my dad that I'd take responsibility for the kid, you know. I told him if I don't bring him back to you, then I'll forever be held accountable by you, Pops. So like, listen, can you do me a solid favor? Can I be the one that takes this guy's place and serve you like a loyal servant and let this guy go hang with his bros? Like, how am I supposed to face my dad if homie ain't with me? I don't want to witness the bad stuff that can happen to my old man. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, you old lying devil, but you didn't say that when you did what you all did to Joseph. You didn't care about your dad then. So why are you caring about him now? Let me try to keep my commentary to myself. Old backslidden hypocrite, lying devil. Genesis 45. So Joseph couldn't hold it in anymore in front of everyone watching, and he shouted, I need everyone to leave right now. And there was no one left with him when Joseph finally revealed his true identity to his brothers. I can imagine they were shocked. And he straight up started bawling his eyes out, and everyone in Egypt, including Pharaoh and his posse, could hear him. Wept in the Hebrew translation means straight up wail with tears streaming down his face. So Joseph goes up to his brothers and says, yo, it's me, Joseph. Is my dad still alive? But his brothers were shook and couldn't even respond because they were freaking out over seeing him there. So like Joseph saw his brothers and was like, yo, come here, please. And they went near him. And he was like, dudes, it's me, Joseph, your bro. Remember how you sold me out and sent me to Egypt? Yeah, that's me. So like, don't be all sad and mad at yourselves for selling me out here, because God totally sent me ahead of you, like to save lives and stuff. And seriously, don't be angry like in your eyes or anything. So like for the past 2 years, there's been this major famine going on. And get this, it's going to last for another 5 years. Can you believe it? Like during these 5 years, there won't be any planting or harvesting happening at all. It's going to be pretty tough, man. God totally sent me ahead of you to make sure you guys have future generations and to save your lives through a major rescue mission. Like he wanted to keep a small group of you safe and stuff, you know. Okay, listen up, fam. It wasn't you who sent me here, but God himself. He's the one who made me the big boss in Pharaoh's crib and in charge of everything in Egypt. Hey, hurry up. Go to my dad. Tell him, like, I'm Joseph and God has made me ruler of all Egypt. He needs to come down to me ASAP. No time to waste. So like you're going to live in this rad place called Goshen, and it's going to be super close to me. Like you, your kids, your grandkids, all your animals, and everything you own will be totally there too. No worries. And I'll take care of you there because there's still 5 years of famine ahead. I don't want you, your family, or anything you own to suffer from poverty. Yo, check it out. You and my bro Benjamin can see with your own eyes that it's me, your boy who's speaking to you right now. Yo, make sure you fill my dad in on all the sick stuff that's been happening here in Egypt and everything you witnessed. And yo, don't waste any time. Hurry up. Bring my dad here already. And he hugged his brother Benjamin so tight, and they both started crying on each other's shoulders. Yeah, but what them other devils do. Then he gave all his bros a heartfelt hug, shedding some tears of joy for them. And right after that, they had a good convo together. But what them devils do? Did they repent? News got out that Joseph's brothers had arrived at Pharaoh's house, and Pharaoh and his crew were stoked about it. Pharaoh was like, yo, Joseph, tell your bros to load up their animals and hit the road to Canaan. Yo, gather up your pops and your whole crew and roll up to my crib. I got you covered with all the good stuff in Egypt. And we gonna feast like kings. Yo, here's the deal. You got to do what you've been told. Grab some wheels from Egypt for your kids and wives. Bring your old man and come on over. Don't just focus on your things because the prosperity of all Egypt belongs to you. Don't hold back or hesitate in sharing the wealth. So the Israelites did as Joseph told them, and he supplied them with wagons, just as Pharaoh had ordered. He also gave them plenty of food for the journey. He gave each person some cool new clothes, but Benjamin got $300 and 5 outfit changes. And he sent his father a DM like this: 10 totally stacked donkeys loaded with the yummiest Egyptian stuff, 10 chilled donkeys loaded with corn, bread, and meat for his dad on the journey. Hashtag donkey goals. And he told his bros to bounce, and they did. He was like, yo, make sure y'all don't start beefing on the way. So they left Egypt and arrived in the land of Canaan where their father Jacob was. So they went and told him, like, yo, dude, Joseph's still kicking. And he's like the boss man running the whole show in Egypt. And Jacob was like, whoa, man, I can't even handle this. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. So they filled him in on everything Joseph had said to them. And when Jacob saw the cool rides Joseph had sent to pick, y'all better give the man cardiac arrest. Joseph had sent to pick him up, he felt a surge of hope and joy. It was like, all right, I've had my fill. My son Joseph is still kicking, so I'm going to pay him a visit before I kick the bucket. That's the way to say it. Genesis chapter 46. So Israel packed up all this stuff and headed to Beersheba. When he got there, he made some offerings to the same God his dad Isaac worshiped. So like God came through to Israel in like a super intense dream. It was like, Jacob, Jacob. And Jacob was like, yo, I'm right here. And God said, yo, I'm like God, the same God that your dad worships. Don't trip about going to Egypt, because I'm going to hook you up and make your descendants a super dope nation. I got your back, fam. I'll roll with you to Egypt and for sure bring you back. Joseph going to be there to close your eyes when it's time. So Jacob left Beersheba, and his sons, along with their kids and wives, helped him move using the wagons that Pharaoh had sent for the journey. So they brought their livestock and all the stuff that they acquired in Canaan and went to Egypt. Jacob and all his fam rolled up too, like they were all together and all. He brought all the kids, grandkids, daughters, granddaughters, along with all his descendants to Egypt with him. So like these are the names of the homies from Israel who went to Egypt. Jacob and his crew, Reuben, who's firstborn of Jacob. And Reuben had these sons, Hanok, Phalu, Hezron, and Carmi. So Simeon, the Simeon dudes were Jemuel, Jamim, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, and Shaul had a Canaanite mom. Jemuel also could be called Nemuel. Jachin also could be called Jerib. Zohar could also be called Zerah. So like Levi had 3 sons, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Oh, and just a heads up, Gershon is sometimes called Gershom. Now, Judah had 5 sons, Onan, Shelah, Pharez, and Zerah. Unfortunately, and Onan passed away while they were in Canaan. Pharez, on the other hand, had 2 sons, Hezron and Hamul. The brothers of Issachar were Tola, Phuvah, Job, and Shimron. Phuvah and Job, also known as Puah and Jashu. So check out the fam of Zebulun. They got Sered, Elon, and Jaleel holding it down. These are the kids of Leah, the one she had with Jacob when they were in Padanaram, and their sister Dinah was included too. In total, there were 33 children, counting both sons and daughters. The dudes from the tribe of Gan were Ziphion, Haggai, Shunai, Esbon, Era, Arodai, and Arilai. Ziphion can also be called Zephon, and Esbon can also be called Ozni, and Arodi can also be called Erod. Asher had some cool kids named Jimnah, Ishua, Isui, and Beriah. They also had a rad sister named Serah. Beriah's sons were Heber and Malkiel. These are the kids of Zilpah and Laban, hooked up with Leah, and she had them with Jacob. They were a total of 16 of them. Rachel's sons were Joseph and Benjamin. They were Jacob's wife. In Egypt, Joseph had 2 sons named Manasseh and Ephraim. Their mother was Asenath, the daughter of Potphera, who was a priest or leader in the city of On. The dudes from Benjamin were Bela, Becher, Ashbel, Zerah, Naaman, Ehi, Rosh, Mupim, Hupim, and Ard. I thought Benjamin was a kid. How many kids do you have, Benjamin? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good night. And by the way, Ehi might also go by Hiram. Mupim could be called Shufam or Shupim, and Hupim could be called Hufam. These are the kids Rachel had with Jacob. There were a total of 14. And Dan had a few kids. Husham was one of them. Husham or Shumam. Yeah, but what were his other kids' names? These are the peeps from the tribe of Naphtali. Jaziel, Guni. How are you going to name a kid Guni? All right, Naphtali. His kids were Jaziel, Guni, Jezer, Shelam. Y'all got some cool names, fam. No, those not no cool names. Guni, that's a nickname. Here's a rundown of Bilhah's kids that Laban hooked Rachel up with. She gave birth to them for Jacob, and they were a total of 7 peeps in the family. So when Jacob and his crew made the move to Egypt, there were a total of 66 peeps, excluding Jacob's sons' wives who joined the gang. Just a little FYI, the term loins actually refers to Jacob's thigh in the Hebrew language, no cap. And Joseph had 2 sons while he was in Egypt. The total number of people from Jacob's family who came to Egypt was 70. Then he asked Judah to go ahead of him to Joseph to lead him to Goshen. And they arrived in the land of Goshen. So Joseph got his ride ready and went to meet his dad, Israel, in Goshen. When they finally saw each other, Joseph hugged his dad real tight, and they both cried for a good while. Israel said to Joseph, I'm ready to pass away now that I've seen your face, knowing that you're still alive. So Joseph was like, hey, bros and fam, I'm going to head up and tell Pharaoh that our peeps from Canaan are here with me. The dudes are like shepherds because that's their gig, taking care of animals and stuff. They brought all their flocks, herds, and everything they own with them. It's what they do for a living, you know. And it's going to happen when Pharaoh hits you up and goes, yo, what's your hustle? So basically, we've been dealing with livestock since we were young, and our parents too. It's the way we've always made a living. That is why we can settle in Goshen. You see, the Egyptians aren't really into the whole shepherd thing. They find it repulsive. Genesis chapter 47. So Joseph went and told Pharaoh, like, yo, my dad and bros, along with their animals and stuff, have come out of Canaan, and now they're chilling in Goshen. So he grabbed 5 of his friends and introduced them to Pharaoh. Pharaoh was like, yo, what do you guys do for a living? And they're like, we're sheep herders, just like our ancestors, bro. So we told Pharaoh that we came here to stay for a while because there's no good grazing land for our animals in Canaan. Famine is really bad over there. So could you please let us live in the land of Goshen? So Pharaoh talked to Joseph and said, hey, your dad and your bros are here with us now. Hey, Egypt is all yours. Settle your dad and bros in the nicest part of the land, specifically in Goshen. And if you come across some skilled dudes, put them in charge of my cattle. So Joseph brought his dad, Jacob, and presented him to Pharaoh, and Jacob gave Pharaoh his blessings. Pharaoh was like, yo, Jacob, how many years have you been clocking? Like, how many years have you lived on this earth? Yo, Pharaoh, just so you know, I've been on this journey called life for 130 years. But man, these years have been rough and short compared to the long and blessed lives of my ancestors during their time on earth. So Jacob gave his blessings to Pharaoh and then left his presence. So Joseph found a rad spot in Egypt for his dad and bros in the land of Ramses, just like Pharaoh told him to. They got their own little piece of land, the prime real estate in Egypt. So Joseph made sure his dad, his brothers, and all their family had enough bread to eat, taking into account each family's needs, just like when you take care of a little child. So like there was a legit 0 bread anywhere in the whole land. It was a major famine, you know. Even in Egypt and Canaan were totally wiped out because of it. So like Joseph collected all the cash he found in Egypt and Canaan from selling the corn, and he brought it back to Pharaoh's crib. So like when there was no money in Egypt and Canaan, all the Egyptians went to Joseph and asked him for bread. They were like, dude, why should we die while you're here? We're broke. And I'm not saying that other part. Yo, Joseph was like, yo, hook me up with your livestock and I'll trade you some cash since money's running low. So they brought their cows to Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in return for their horses, flocks, herds, and donkeys. He provided them with enough bread to feed all the animals for that entire year. After that first year, they approached him again in the second year and were like, listen up, dude. We ain't going to hide it from you. We're totally broke. You've got all our cash and livestock. We've got nothing left except ourselves and our land. Why should we suffer and watch ourselves and our land die? Can you supply us with food and buy our land so that we and our land can serve Pharaoh? And please give us seeds so that we can survive and prevent the land from becoming desolate. So like Joseph straight up brought all the land in Egypt for Pharaoh. See, the Egyptians were selling their fields and stuff because this crazy famine was wrecking them. And guess what? Boom, the land ended up belonging to Pharaoh. It was wild. And so like he basically relocated all the peeps, moving them to different cities from one side of Egypt to the other. He didn't buy any land from the priests because they already had their own piece of land. That Pharaoh gave them, and they ate from it. That's why they didn't sell their property. So Joseph was like, yo, guys, check it out. I just got you and your land on behalf of Pharaoh. And I got some seeds for you too. So you can start planting this stuff. When the harvest comes, you got to give 1/5 to Pharaoh, and 4/5 are yours to keep. Use it for planting crops, feeding yourselves, taking care of your families, and making sure the little ones have enough to eat. And they were like, dude, you totally saved our lives. We hope you're cool with us. And we'd be totally down to work for Pharaoh if that's cool with you, my Lord. So Joseph established a rule in Egypt that's still followed today. When Pharaoh receives 1/5 of everything produced, except for the land belonging to the priests, they do not belong to Pharaoh. So basically, Israel was living it up in Egypt, specifically in a place called Goshen. They're doing pretty well for themselves, got some nice stuff, and their numbers were growing like crazy. So Jacob stayed in Egypt for 17 years, and he lived to be 147 years old in total. Hashtag just living life. The day approached when it was time for Israel to pass away. So he called his son Joseph and said to him, if I've earned your favor, can you please promise me this? Place your hand under my thigh as a sign of trust and treat me with kindness and honesty. Please don't bury me in Egypt. But when I pass away, I want you to take me out of Egypt and lay me to rest alongside my ancestors. And he replied saying, I'll do exactly as you requested. And he was like, dude, promise me. And he was like, yeah, I promise. And Israel was all humble and respectful. Please put these words in the comment section. This is the word of the Lord. Follow, like, and subscribe. Hit that arrow at the bottom of the screen and share this video. Shall we pray? Father, one thing that we have learned from these passages of scripture today, these various chapters, is the blessing of forgiveness. Joseph could have been bitter. Joseph could have went over and over and over again all of the things that had happened to him. He actually could have retaliated against his brothers. He could have wiped them out. Matter of fact, he didn't have to end it that quickly. He could have tortured them. But instead, he did the talking and said, now you all be quiet. I'm going to tell you that this was on your behalf. What you did, it wasn't you that did it to me. God did it to me so I could go before you and I could save you and the generations to come. God, what an amazing story of forgiveness, of reconciliation. What a tremendous story of staying focused. Joseph was so focused on the mission that he didn't even take the time to try to pay attention to all of the bad things that had happened to him, because there was so much good that had happened to him and so much good that had happened through him. So, Father, help us to have that same focus today. Help us to see the big picture like Joseph did, so we're not caught up on the details of all of our hurts and disappointments and pain and suffering. And then give us the hope, as you've done through your word. Give us the hope. You've given us the hope. Give us to focus on the hope that we have, that all things work together for good because we love you. It's all going to pan out in the end, some way, somehow. We don't understand. Doesn't always make sense. Doesn't always look that way. But that's where our trust and our faith in you comes in. And we ask all of this in Jesus' name. That all the people of God say, thank God, amen, and put in the comment section, this is the word of the Lord.